Welcome to the Ugly Stick Fantasy League, as of yet unnamed podcast, online version. I'm official Yahoo Test, and here is, for enough said. Hello, Jacob.
Hello.
How you
It's
going?
good to be back. I'm glad we got rid of that muppet that was here last week.
Yep, fair enough.
I'm pretty sure all he did the whole episode was bag me out.
Did he? I thought I was doing enough of that. I didn't notice him doing it though.
Yeah, I know, but you co-host this, so I can't be too mean. You're here at the moment. He's not here to defend himself. It's been going down. What's been happening? What's the fantasy happy haps, man? Like, you're having a good week?
I am actually. Thanks for asking. It's a very good week. I'm very happy with the boys. I think they really pulled out all the stops. Because
it's good.
I mean, on paper, it's I've got to say, it looked like a bit of an easy week, and it's very easy in this situation for the team to really let you down. You know, as a fantasy manager, you're constantly having to log in and check things, and sometimes you don't think the team is doing the same amount of work that you are, or that logging in, but they did. They definitely pulled through, and I'm really happy with the boys. What about you? I think you're not doing too badly, are you?
I'm having a decent week. It's been touch and go until today, really. My goalies especially stood on their head today. Jonathan Quick and Jake Allen were my two active goalies, and Jake Allen was stopped something like 45 from 46 shots or something. And Jonathan Quick was something like 28 from 29 shots. So, yeah, both of them doing pretty well for me.
And a shutout as well for Quickie.
Yeah, Quick had a shutout the other day.
Bit of a monster as well, I believe.
Yeah, like it was a 40-shot shutout. And they're becoming pretty rare. If you look at the league stats for the week, 2 shutouts. The entire league, the entire week.
I feel better for my week now. I didn't get any, and I was thinking, and I saw you had one. I'm thinking, geez. Actually, yeah, I remember. I looked at the Yahoo stat tracker thing, and yeah, you were the only one.
The other one would be Siggy Tardust had one. Who was it? Lena had one for Buffalo. There was a shutout for Golden Knights, but no one has that goaltender.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was a shutout. Yeah, of course. But I mean, I was actually
Oscar Dance.
Yeah, well, we actually mentioned him 2 weeks ago. But I was thinking about him the other day. I'm like, who at the beginning of the season would even consider having? I mean, he probably wasn't even pickable, right?
Yeah,
as a player.
The second backup for an expansion team.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, who could have bet on him?
So
for
it's
example?
Probably a good time to mention that I had done my research on him today because he was going to be my fantasy player of the week.
Yeah, I thought about recommending him as well.
Yeah, so he's played about 2.5 games so far.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came in partway through for Malcolm Subban, who got injured.
Mm-hmm.
He's had of those 2.5 games, he's had 3 wins. He's a goal average against of 1.35, 959 save percentage. He's had a shutout, which was the first ever shutout for the Vegas Golden Knights.
That's true, record breaking.
They're killing it. He's made 71 saves from a total of 74 shots and only 3 goals against.
I did notice though in his little card on fantasy website that they're like, yeah, he's not going to keep it up. And I was thinking, hey, hold on. A big part of goalie success is obviously the team. The team is clearly doing well. Surely the goalie stats may, stay good at least.
But yeah, well, I mean, it's this whole. Do you remember the movie The Replacements?
No.
All right. Well, basically, the whole premise of it is these guys get hired to come in to play football while all the players go on strike, and they basically are playing for their lives. Like if they play well, they're done. They're still going home when the players come back from strike.
Yep.
So they may as well put it, all on the line and play the best that they can and make it out. And I think Oscar Dansk is probably, he's doing the same thing. He's got a lot to prove, but when he comes back when Subban comes back, when Fleury comes back, he's probably going to be riding the pine.
He probably doesn't have to try that hard though, because look at his name.
Yeah,
It's an awesome name.
yeah, that's true. Is it just rolls off the tongue, that one.
Oh, it just kind of sounds like dank.
Yeah, it is dank.
Yeah, it's just
It's
really,
like
really
the
dank
Danish
gold.
version of dank or something.
Danke.
How good are Vegas? Like we just touched on it with the goalie situation, but how good are Vegas at the moment?
It's pretty nutty. I mean, when was the last time an expansion team even started
Well, the
playing?
last expansion team was Winnipeg in 2011 or 2012, I'd say. Yeah, so I can confirm that. But yeah, like it's the best ever start for a for an expansion team. I can't remember the exact. I think they're about 8-1-1, something like that. The Vegas Golden Knights. They're on a 5-game winning tear. You know, it's just I think that they've done an amazing job of putting this team together, and obviously, you know, they're fresh, they're excited, they're mostly a young team, and they're killing it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the stats now. Yeah, top of the Pacific Conference. 9 played, 8 won. Calgary's next. It's actually Pacific Conference isn't that? I mean, apart from LA, there's not really that many. Vancouver.
Well, who'd be in there? LA, San Jose, Anaheim, them, and Vancouver.
Yeah, and Arizona and Edmonton.
Arizona and Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton's a great team this year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, they're not doing too badly. Played 7. Sorry, actually they're doing pretty terribly. 10 played, 3-1. 1 overtime loss.
What's what is 10-3-1? Is that their record?
Yeah, 3-1, 6 lost.
Yeah,
and then 1 overtime loss. Why do they categorize that differently? Get different points for it?
Because you get a point if you take it to overtime. So a win either way you get 2 points. A loss you get no points, but if you take it to overtime you get 1 point if you lose. Oh, I forgot. I don't have my glasses on. Just wait.
Yeah, I actually keen viewers would have noticed that I did start the broadcast. Nice. I did start the broadcast without the glasses on because I can't actually see very well. These are very dark. I've got nice ones in my car, but I couldn't bother going down and going.
I haven't looked at the fantasy week this week, and well, I kind of did, but there's a couple of games that are really tight. But one that makes me laugh is Brian's best team.
It's a common entry into this category of the show.
Yeah, he's managed to be a tie again at this point. With we go into the final day of the week on the Mondays our time, and sitting at 6, 6-all. He's good. He's good at keeping that. He's looking at mid-table. He's 2 weeks down. He finished 5-5-3, and then this week he's 6-6-2, or 6-6-1. So, yeah, very very consistent. This guy. I think he'll probably get a mention every single week if he keeps going like this.
Well, if we look through his stats, can we see any particular reason? It seems to be...
One thing I noticed about the way Brian plays is he doesn't necessarily go for the primary stats. He doesn't necessarily go for those goals, the assists, the power play points, game-winning goals. But you find a lot of those secondary back-end stats. So the shots, the face-off wins, hits, blocks. He'll pick up those categories a lot. And if you... I'll run you through. So you go to the league tab, and then you go to team stats. you'll actually see a list of how you do every week. So you got, all the categories there, and it's if you win them or if you lose them, and if you look at things like shots on goal, we're at Brian's best team 1-1. Face-off wins, he's 2-0. Hits, he's 1-1. Blocks, he hasn't won any yet, but his especially face-off wins, he's consistent there. But you see the goals, the assists, and the power play points and the game-winning goals. He hasn't won those categories at all. So it kind of shows that he's definitely stronger in those secondary stats.
Look at who has won both of their goals and assists.
Goals and assists.
Well, actually, I didn't check assists, but goals.
Well, I can see you've won goals, but you haven't won the assist category yet.
Power play point, I noticed today, also counts assists as well.
Yeah, so a power play point is whenever your team is on the power play, if they score a goal and an assist, or your player gets credited with the goal and an assist, you'll get both the goal and the or the assist and the power play point.
And I was thinking, obviously, this is what makes Ovechkin such a potent point getter. The guy's, his whole team's passing him the puck on the power play. He's having shots on goal, left, right, and center. So,
I guess this also makes it pretty. This makes the Daily Faceoff website very powerful. So, if you, for example, go to Daily Faceoff and look at Washington Capitals, not only do they have the rosters, but they also have the power play units. And that's really important, that you want someone on that power play unit to pick up those power play points. So if you're thinking about picking up a player, and here's another little tip of the week. If you're looking to pick up a player, go into this website and check if they are on the power play. Because if they're not going to get any power play points.
So I've got line combinations and then power play units down the bottom here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really powerful tool if you are considering picking up someone off the waiver wire, or you're tossing up between a couple of players, or even dropping someone. It's worth having a look at this to see, how they're going and where they sit and if they are in the power play. Because it's as an important category as any other category.
They will mention this in those little Yahoo Fantasy player cards, but the same thing applies if one of your players gets moved off one of the first line. Who is it called? The top line?
Yeah, top line. Yeah.
Yeah, if they get moved off that top line, they're not going to be getting fed all those assists and stuff like that anymore. So got to be careful when anyone's ever moving on or off these lines. But yeah, it's very good, this daily face-off page. I quite like it. Especially, and I was noticing
there's
also
a lot of information which makes it handy to, especially when you're looking at picking up new players and stuff, to see who they're with. If it's a hot streak or something that's going to be able to, is going to be able to continue, or maybe they're sitting in someone else's seat until they're back from injury, and it might be very short-lived. So, yeah, it's handy for all those things.
We see, for example, the way they even set up this website, the top category you can choose is starting goalies. So I think that alone tells you how important it is to get that information correct. I mean, we see, Ryan Miller projected debut because John Gibson has hurt his hand or something.
I want to go into something a little bit different.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Do you know much about them?
I know that you're supposed to always say Leafs.
Yeah, they're Leafs, not leaves, but that's not what I was going to talk about. But other than that, do you know much about them? How they're doing this year? What they're looking like?
I don't think they're doing that well, but I'm honest. I don't really look at players outside my team. I don't know if I've got any Leafs. Oh, the first guy on my team is from the Leafs, of course. And
Yeah, well, I mean,
Nazem
they're not
Kadri.
doing too badly. They're sitting third in the Atlantic. They're 7-4-0 on their record. But what I wanted to talk about was from a fantasy perspective. Was I think they're too good of a team. Um,
Yes.
so, I mean, I know that's an odd thing to say, right? Like, how can if a team's too good, you want them, right? You want to pick up their players because they're going to
Get
score
wins.
more goals, get more goal scoring chances. But um, my problem with them is that they've been so well drilled as a team that it kind of devalues all their players because there's not a couple of guys that you can pick out that are putting up all the points.
Interesting.
So, I mean, you look at their team, and they're all kind of quite widely spread. So, I mean, look at Austin Matthews. He's a gun. Um, he's worth picking up no matter what. But then the next closest player to him is Nazem Kadri,
I got him.
and he's 36th.
Yeah, I got him.
And then the next player is 63rd. And if you look at the goals and the assist column, like you can keep scrolling down for ages before. So like there's so many guys that have got points in this team. Yeah, I think that they're such a good team and they play so well together that all the players are a little bit devalued from a fantasy perspective.
Interesting. I have noticed
Um,
that though. If you do I did notice that very early on when I played that the Rangers were red hot when I first started playing. So I thought I'll just pick up all these Rangers players, and sure, like every now and then one of them will have a good game because they're winning a lot. But otherwise, their fantasy contributions were kind of small because they get an
yeah,
assist here because that's all they need. One guy to get an assist, and then that means they're winning by a goal or whatever. But it really, yeah, I noticed it didn't translate to fantasy points. With the goalies, it did, but I didn't find if you had a guy on those teams where they had two, especially because they'll have like two lines back to back who are both
hmm
firing, and between six guys, you're going to be share. That's not there's not many points to go around anyway. But if you share them all the time, yeah. So I have noticed that actually.
yeah. So if you sort of put the shoe on a team that's doing a little bit worse, but not horribly. If you have a look at the stats for the Washington players, you see the spread for the top probably one, two, three, four, five guys is the equivalent of the spread of the top two or three or whatever it was for Toronto. So they got five guys in the top 70, whereas Toronto had maybe three guys in the top 70. Um, and that's what I mean. Like, you're putting a lot more onus on a few players, and it's a lot easier to pick up these guys from a fantasy perspective compared to Toronto, who, you're spreading the load over the first two lines, which is 6 to 10 guys. Yeah, I think at the moment they're a very hard team to pick up players because they're too good of a team.
Interesting, interesting. Uh, we see uh, the top five players rank wise are picked up, but then there's free agent. Then there are quite a few more free agents. So
Is that for Toronto or for
Tor-
Washington? You mean?
Toronto.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, it's also, I mean, you got to think of it the other ways. If a team's putting up a bunch of points, each individual player is just as likely to put up points. Like they're proving that's the case. That any goal that Toronto scores, basically, you know, any player could do it. We're only almost at the end of 3 weeks into the season, and one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine players have scored before there's a first ranked player that hasn't scored a goal for that one team. So yeah. But I just thought it was interesting looking at it from that perspective. That sometimes a hot team doesn't always mean a team that's necessarily a better pickup of a player.
Oh, if you look at, I'm just looking at the Washington team. You got this is a bit of a fantasy pick here, maybe. Jay Beagle, center and right winger. He's ranked very terribly. Only started 1% of league.
Yeah,
But time and ice, not too bad. He got 2 goals, 2 assists, 8 shots on goal, 84 face-off wins, 9 hits and 4 blocks. I mean, he's a solid contributor there. I mean, if you look at who's on top of Washington, it's obviously Ovechkin with 10 and 5 goals, but uh, otherwise 6 goals and 3 goals and 12. The goals aren't that bad, but he's contributing
yeah,
quite a lot in those other stats. I would definitely say pick this guy up. Jay Beagle,
yeah.
a
There
goal
you
and
go.
3 points in 10 games. Yeah, 30 points last season. Not a bad.
Only 1% owned.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting on the fourth line
I'm gonna make
with
him. I'm
Alex
gonna make him my
Cassidy.
official fantasy recommendation.
There you go.
But
Not
I, I,
bad.
I really think you should look through everyone else, all the other teams. But this is actually quite an effective tool.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at things, breaking it down by team rather than break it down by player. Because it's good to you can see a lot of trends and stuff about how teams actually play. When there's one guy who's sitting on top and no one else has any points, you kind of go, all right, well, you shut this guy down and that team's not scoring any goals. But you look at other teams and they're spread out so evenly that you just go, well, any player can score. How do you stop a team like that? And from a hockey perspective, it's interesting to look at, and from a fantasy perspective, it is too.
Got Tyler
But
Johnson on Tampa Bay. He's a free agent.
yeah,
4 goals, 3 assists, 3 power play points. 20. He's not a bad pickup either. He's picked all these other categories. He's contributing nicely. That's
yeah,
actually
and we
kind of
know Tampa
interesting.
Bay are flying pretty high. Third line center Tyler Johnson. So yeah,
Oh, there you go. Yeah, those third lines on good teams are interesting prospects to me sometimes because you just think they just got pounded by the first line, just got pounded by the second line. Finally, they think they get some respite. You got some hungry guys on the third line who just go in and really aggressive, score a goal. Can be
yeah,
can be a good fantasy points getter for sure.
and Tyler Johnson's good because he centers the second power play unit as well. So
Oh, there you go.
he's going to be picking up power play points as well.
I might actually have to spend some time. I never thought about going by team, but it's easy. It's all those top point getters are all going to be going in the drafts, but these kind of second and third line guys who can, with a bit of line rejig or whatever, can really pick up some points out of nowhere. What a good
That's it. And well, I
Sean
mean, you look at
Coutier.
Tyler Johnson that you just pointed out. He's got 4 goals, 3 assists. So he's got 7 points, and of that, 3 of them are on the power play.
Yeah, I
So,
noticed that.
like percentage wise, he produces a lot of his points
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
power play. So,
Yeah.
that's a double stat
Mm-hmm.
straight away.
For sure. Interesting.
All right, here we go. I got a quiz for you.
Okay.
Kill it. Who was drafted second overall behind Sidney Crosby? Mike Richards, Alexander Ovechkin, or Bobby Ryan?
Bobby Ryan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next question. Maybe we'll just do 5 of these or something.
Yeah, we'll see what we
Which goalie has the most wins in NHL history? Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, or Curtis Joseph?
Probably go for Brodeur.
Correct.
I don't even heard of the other guys. And I know Brodeur played for quite a long time.
Yeah,
Didn't he
he's
just
got quite a
retire
few
recently?
records. He's a good guess for pretty much all goalie records.
Yeah, didn't he retire kind of recently, like last 5 years or something?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I remember he was a bit of a
what-
legend.
Oh, he is definitely. Asked him about Marty Brodeur and how he's a St. Louis Blues just absolute legend of the game.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most amount of goals scored by a rookie in a season by a rookie? 75, 76, or 62?
I mean, 62 is a good tally even for a veteran. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it should be higher though. So, was it 72? Was the other one? I'll go for that.
And I'll check that. So 70, 75, 76 was the two answers. Or
75.
62.
Okay, well, 75 is pretty high, but we're talking about record here, so I guess I'll say it's 75.
75. 76 actually.
Oh, yeah, it's I guess a record, but yeah, about 60 goals a season is like the elite, right? Like the top the top snipers are going to be hitting about 60 65.
Yeah, they reckon that the like 70 points is like the aim. So that's goals and assists. So just goals is, pretty good to get up to 70.
Yeah.
It was Teemu Solani in 1992-93 for the Jets, I think.
Pretty good. Cool. It's a good way to get a contract extension.
Yeah, let's. Well, I mean, he played for a couple of years after that. George Hainsworth set a record for the most shutouts in a single season in 1928-29. How many shutouts did he get? 17, 12, or 22? Man, any of those, like 12 shutouts is massive for a season. Like, I don't. Yeah.
I guess it depends how long their season is, though. I don't know. I guess I'll go for the high one, 17.
So the high one's 22, or the 17?
That's too high.
17's middleist.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go for
17. Oh no, it was 22.
Oh, what a cruncher!
And he did it in 44 games.
50%.
So 50% of the games were shutouts.
Pretty good.
It's a different era of hockey, I think. Yeah, cool. Well, anyway, man, I think I'm done talking to you now.
Okay.
So, catch you next week.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Have a good one.
Yeah, set your lineup, everyone. Go kill it for the last day of the round tomorrow, and yeah, we'll have a chat next week about what's happening.
All right, cool.
Catch up.